Hi, I'm Eric with Simply Elegant Home Cooking. Today I'm going to show you my version of steak and shrimp, also known as surf and turf. This is a really elegant restaurant style dish, but you can actually put it together in your own home, in your own kitchen, and it's a lot easier than you probably think. So stick around and I'll show you how to do it. So we're going to be starting off today with an 8-ounce tenderloin filet mignon steak. I should note that you can easily double this recipe. It's a great recipe to make for a special occasion, for Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, or something along those lines, but I'm cooking for myself today. So what you want to do, you want to take the steak out a full hour before you're going to cook it. It's very important. This is a very thick cut, and you want to make sure that it can come up to temperature. So once you've rested the steak for an hour, we're just ready to cook it. And at this point, we want to add some generous seasoning. I'm going to go with some salt and pepper. And you can see I seasoned that very generously, so I'm just going to flip that over and hit the other side. And just use your hands a little to press that in, and if you like, you can even mop a little bit of that up on the sides. And I like to cook this dish in a stainless steel skillet. You can also use cast iron. But I'm going to preheat this to a medium-high heat. So we're going to give that just a few minutes to come up to temperature. We want to make sure it's smoking hot before we put the filet mignon on the heat. Okay, a few minutes later and we're ready. I'm going to add just a very small amount of oil. You don't need much. Give that a little swirl. Going to add in the steak. So we're going to let that sear on each side for 2 minutes. Okay, and this has been going for 2 minutes on the first side, which is plenty. I'm going to give this a flip. And we're going to let it go for another 2 minutes. Okay, so we're 2 minutes on the second side. At this point, I'm going to turn off the heat. And that's exactly how you want it to look. It's got a nice sear on both sides, but it needs some additional time in the center. So I have the oven preheating to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to pop this in the oven for about 8 minutes, and this should be cooked perfectly. And while our filet cooks in the oven, I just want to show you the shrimp. I have 6 large shrimp, and what I've done is I have peeled them, but I've left this one segment intact, the tail in the one segment, and I've also cut them down the middle and deveined them. You want to remove that vein. So once you have your shrimp prepped, you just want to hit them with a little bit of salt and pepper. And I'm going to flip them over and hit the other side as well. Okay, and after 8 minutes, that's how your steak should look. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this off the heat, and we're going to allow that to rest while we cook the rest of the dish. And you'll notice we have some great brown bits in the pan. We're not going to wipe that out. What I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this on to medium-high again, give it just a few moments to come up, and then we're going to cook the shrimp in the same pan. So we want to cook these just for about 1.5 minutes on each side. Okay, these shrimp are ready to flip. When you do it right, they should release from the pan like that with a nice sear. And at this point, the shrimp are done. You want to make sure not to overcook them. So I'm going to take them off the heat. And now we have some delicious brown bits in the pan. We're going to use those to make a pan sauce. So what you want to do first, you want to deglaze with some white wine. And we're going to let this reduce down until it's syrupy, and then we're going to add the rest of the ingredients. And as that white wine reduces, just be sure to use a spatula and scrape off any of those bits. And as that reduces down, I'm going to add some of the next ingredients. I have 1 small shallot that I have chopped up, and 2 medium cloves of garlic, So I'm going to add that in and then give everything a big stir to incorporate it. And once that cooks down until it's syrupy like this, you want to add in some homemade chicken stock. If you don't know how to make that, I have a link in the description to see my recipe. So I'm going to go in with the little chicken stock. And be sure to stir that again as you go. So we're going to allow this to reduce further. We'll check back in a few minutes. Okay, and it doesn't take long at all. Your sauce should look like this. So I am going to add in just a small squeeze of lemon. Give that a stir. And I'm going to turn this off the heat and add a chunk of cold butter. So what you want to do, you want to add that cold butter and then just move it along as that melts, and that's going to emulsify into the sauce. And then just a finishing touch to the sauce, go in there with some fresh parsley and give that a big stir, and we are ready to plate everything up. And then to serve that up, you just want to spoon over a little bit of the sauce over top of the shrimp. So here's our dish plated up, steak and shrimp, also known as surf and turf. You saw how easy this was to put together. This is a true restaurant quality dish you can do in your own home, in your own kitchen. It's not complicated. I really hope you enjoyed. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Eric with Simply Elegant Home Cooking, and I'll see you again soon.